Alright, so in this video I'm gonna talk about the main differences of a PS3 that can play PS2, so a backwards compatible PS3, and just a regular, fat model PS3 that does not have any backwards compatibility. Alright, so first of all, we have these two models here. So I guess the people that really know about them can probably already tell which one is which. But for the majority of us, let's just look at them. So here's one of them. And here's the other. So both of these are considered the fat model PS3s because they're really chunky. Like they're huge and pretty heavy. And that kind of leads into one of the main things that you can tell the difference of. So, for brevity's sake, this one on the left over here, this is the backwards compatible one. Now, one way that you can tell is, first of all, the weight. So the backwards compatible one is a lot heavier than one that is not. I would say it's probably about a third. Yeah, I would say about like a third heavier than this guy over here. So it's a pretty large difference in weight. Another main difference is going to be the chrome accenting here. So on the Blu-ray drive. So on the ones that are backwards compatible, it's going to be chrome, like a really reflective chrome, and then it catches a lot of like fingerprints and stuff like that. Also, sorry about the dust. These are pretty old. I've been trying to clean them, but you know, the struggle. So yeah, the main thing is going to be this chrome here. And then also the PlayStation 3 lettering is going to be chrome as well. And another thing about the lettering is you can actually feel it. So if you run your finger across like this 3 over here, or just like the PlayStation name over here, it'll be, you can feel it. You can actually feel the letters. Versus on one that isn't, it's kind of just like grafted on, kind of just like a print job here. So you can sort of feel it, but you can definitely tell that this is like just graphic. Versus here, it's like an actual inlay. So this is an actual piece of chrome plastic that's in the chassis. Another main thing on the front is going to be this plastic section over here. So on a PlayStation 3 that is not backwards compatible, this is just going to be like a chunk of plastic and it doesn't do anything. You can't lift it up. You can't do anything with it. On one that is backwards compatible, you'll notice these 3 little dots here. And this can actually lift up, revealing a bunch of memory card slots. So you have compact flash, you have SD cards, SD minis, and then you have the Sony memory card pros over here. So if you have like any media on those devices, you could just plug them in and then view them on your PlayStation 3. So the ones that are backwards compatible are kind of like the ultimate media devices. So it's pretty cool. It's very cool actually. But one thing to be wary about is that this does tend to break. So some people, just be worried about that if you're in the market for one. So as far as the front of the console, or at least the front top part goes, those are going to be the main differences. Now, on the front of the console, so this one here is going to be the one that is the backwards compatible one. So on the backwards compatible ones, they have 4 USB ports. So 4 USB 2.0 ports. That is not in common with pretty much any other PS3. Only the backwards compatible, only the original ones will do that. Also, there is chrome accenting on the bottom here. So this is chrome. So it runs all along the bottom. One more thing is that there'll be a bunch of vents even on this part where the USBs are. So there'll be a bunch of vents here going across. Now moving over to a regular PS3. This one over here is gonna be only have so this one here is only gonna have 2 USB ports, and then also the accenting here is just gonna be black, like the piano black, like the rest of the console. And there are gonna be no vent holes down here. So there's no venting holes on the front where the USBs are. So that's primarily gonna be the front of the consoles. Now I'm gonna show you guys the sides. The main differences here. So on these guys over here, the early edition PS3s, the backwards compatible ones, it actually says HDD here. So there's like a sticker here that's really hard to pull off. And also like the area to open it is going to be a little bit smaller and it's a little bit more difficult to access. And lastly, there's going to be more vents along the bottom. So these PS3s needed a lot of airflow because they have a lot of parts on the inside of them. So they kind of actually have PS2 chips and everything just built inside. There's a lot going on in here, and that kind of accounts for some of the weight as well. So yeah, this PS3 here, you see no vents on the bottom, no HDD logo, and it's a lot easier to open. You can actually just use your fingernail to open it, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. But yep, that's going to be another main difference between them. So now we're looking at the back of the consoles. I'm going to show you the one that is not backwards compatible first. So here is the layout of the ports. So you have the PlayStation AV port, you have the digital optical audio out, you have an HDMI, and then an Ethernet connection here. A LAN connection, I should say. Now on the ones that are backwards compatible, it's going to be this way. So you're going to have the HDMI first, and then you're going to have the Ethernet connection, and then you're going to have the optical audio, and then you're going to have the Sony proprietary AV multi-out. So that's there pretty much. Also, the venting is going to be slightly different. So here we have one vent, here we have another. On the one that isn't backwards compatible, it's just going to be one vent going along the back. Now, the most important thing here, the most important one to keep in mind is that these guys over here, they're going to have CECHA01. So anything with the CECHA is a backwards compatible model. All right. Those ones are backwards compatible. Now these ones over here, this one is a CECHK, so this one is not at all, not in any way. So that's probably the most important thing that you can know about these guys over here. And then I'm just going to show you around the bottom side real quick. So here are the bottom sides of the PS3. Again, on the left, we're going to have the backwards compatible one. And then on the right is the one that is not backwards compatible. Now they're very, very similar. Of course, the main differences again are just going to be venting. So over here, this PS3, it kind of looks like it has vents, but they're not. So there's no opening here. So it's like faux venting. Now this one over here, these are actual vents. So these do take in air. And then of course there's venting on the bottom. That's shared on both. Except this one over here is shorter. It stops right here. However, this one over here, it keeps going. So you got more vents over here. You got more vents in the back as well. Also, this bottom piece is like a single piece. So it's a little more creaky, especially on like older models. So you can kind of, has a little bit of play in it. Versus this one over here, it's like a solid piece that's already part of the rest of the bottom part of the chassis. So there's no play whatsoever. This is all a conjoined piece. So piece, piece, piece. This is all one. Versus here, it's like these two are one piece, but this one is a separate piece. And yeah, you even got more venting going along the back over here. So it's pretty crazy. Sony, it looks like they kind of knew that these guys could suffer from overheating, which they kind of do. So the early models that are backwards compatible, you have to be really careful. If you decide to buy one, just make sure, you got to check things out. Hopefully it doesn't have like a yellow light of death, all that sort of stuff. But these models, they do tend to get hot. So it's definitely recommended that if you decide to, use these every day, that you actually have them propped up on something that has airflow. So of course you have these little legs here. You could just leave it on a countertop or something like that. Or I should say a media center. And, it'll work just fine. But if you want optimal airflow, you still have these vents down here and also the ones over here. These ones should be kind of fine, but these ones over here, you definitely want to try and get as much airflow into this PS3 as possible. So it's recommended that you lift it up on something. I saw some other video, they had like some metal grate or something that I was just sitting on top of, and they said it was working fine, so that's good. I don't know, I guess you just got to do what you got to do. Of course, it depends on your environment as well. But yeah, so that's just a quick little video showing you guys the differences between the two. And remember, so the backwards compatibles, CECHA for the 60 gigabyte, the ones with Wi-Fi. The 20 gigabyte ones, I don't know what the model number on those guys are, but CECHA. This guy over here is an 80 gigabyte model. It looks very similar to the regular ones, so it's still a fat PS3. This one is not backwards compatible. If it doesn't have CECHA, or I forgot what the other 20 gigabyte one was, then it is not. So yeah, thanks for watching.